Hello, hello. Welcome back. It's just me and Josh. I don't know where our host is. Is he? He's not. I feel like we're missing someone too. There's no way he's still in France, right?
I think he's, he travels
around a lot. I mean,
ultimately.
Maybe we should check on him. Let's see if we can bring Pizzella in here and see where he's at around the world. I have a feeling it's still France, though.
Pardon. C'est midi ici. Je dois manger un peu. Sorry, guys. I was just eating a little bit of my lunch. Just spending the day at the Louvre. Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Comment ça va, les amis? Ah, c'est bien d'être là. Le perspective académique, ça commence là. We're gonna go ahead and get started here. All right, guys. Let's see. We got a couple big brainers here apparently. We got some storytellers. We had a Cubby on last week. He was able to tell some stories. We'll see how Joshi does this week.
Oh boy.
I'm big about storytelling. All right. I'm just gonna say as a French person, we need class in everything we do. If it's not class, we're gonna throw it out.
Okay.
So guys, that's your one warning. That's your warning. You get one. You get one. All right.
I'm dying.
So we're gonna go. Stop it, Magical. We're gonna go ahead and start with storytelling. So, Joshi, you're the new guy to this one. We're gonna go ahead and give you first.
Okay.
We're gonna see if you can sink or swim. We're gonna go.
Oh no.
You got 100 thieves. So you're gonna be telling this story from 100 thieves. All right. We're gonna go ahead and bring this up right now. Let's see if I can get this scene transition going.
Well.
Maybe.
Once
Bam!
upon a time.
All right. There we go. Start it off, my good sir.
Well, once upon a time, there was a young boy named Wixie, who every single game he went into, he'd fixie. Didn't matter the cost. There was no way he lost. Wixie was farming that game. I did it as a limerick.
You're doing great.
Here we go. So as we end up going through, a Realm Warp was cast. They did the Baron fast. And Rise got them out of the pit.
I was hoping for an arcane reference there, but I'll let that one slide.
I'll see what I can do. Okay, so what is this? Your son went forward to dash. He went too far forward, got bashed. It went poor for TSM. They struggled to win. And after that, it was all 100 Thieves. That one was not quite as good as the first two, but we did it.
Yeah.
All right,
C'est magnifique.
Can we skip me? I can't top that.
No. We got you next. All right, we got you. Your time is coming. Right? We like to separate
that was beautiful.
We like to separate. Truly. Magnifique, mon ami. Magnifique.
I can't top that, Lennon. Don't you make me follow that.
We're going to give you TSM, Magical. I believe in you. All right, I believe.
At least that's one of us.
All right, that's all I'm gonna say. So I need to transition back to my game
Let's see.
screen.
Okay.
All right, here you go, Magical.
Maybe you can channel your Eminem.
God, Mom's spaghetti. It's ready. I don't know, but right. I guess we see Viper, and not really Hyper, in the top lane.
Why are you rhyming too?
It's quite a big pain. As Viper got smashed by Gomsu's Shock Blast. And TSM didn't do a thing. Hey!
All right, let's go!
I did it.
All right. Wait, was that your whole story?
No.
I didn't even get through all the pictures.
That was. I'm just happy I did one. I'm just happy I did one.
Good job. And, I'm proud of you. As I said, I believe in you.
All right. Well, I'll try a second time. Let's see. As we back to the top lane, and a little bit more pain. This time, Jimmy N. On the back end. He tried to do work, but I don't know.
All right, I'm cutting you to the next one. We're just gonna move on.
I don't know what to say next.
That's your one.
I got one. I'm happy I got one.
That's what the warning was for.
You know what? Fine. I'm ditching the limerick session. I'm tossing the book on the floor, and I'm just gonna go back to what I'm used to, which is storytelling in more of a softer voice, as you can see right here.
Oh my god! He just had to throw in the last one. All right, you got anything to tell us about this situation here?
Yeah, I do. Here we see it was 100 Thieves. They got themselves onto the dragon. They thought they had this in the bag. There's no way they could lose this. And then Hyper showed out of nowhere. Smite flashed alt out, and he got it. Well done.
Good job! Yay, we made it through!
Woo!
Hooray!
I'm
We
not
did
gonna lie
it!
though.
Second
I'm not gonna
woo!
lie. Josh killed it. There's no way I could have topped that. I was trying so hard to keep up with him, but that was damn impressive.
Un est français, l'autre est américain. Qu'est-ce qu'on peut dire? But
What did you call me?
An
Yeah, me
American. I
too.
called you French, Joshi. Okay,
I
you
didn't-
get an honorary
I didn't even
French
understand
credit.
a word you
go.
said.
You said bonjour. You were doing a good story, man. You're killing it. But in all actuality, you guys interrupted me in the middle of my lunch. I gotta go see the Mona Lisa at some point. So like, I gotta go.
I want
Bye,
a
guys.
baguette.
Bye. Just bye.
Oh, that
does.
looks tasty.
Bye.
We'll see you later,
Bye,
Mazel.
Lennon.
At some point.
Can you bring back a baguette for me? I want a baguette. I really want a baguette. Okay, there he goes.
I was.
There he goes. I really want.
Hon.
Josh, what was that?
It was laughing in French. Hon. Oui, monsieur baguette.
Anyways, looking back at that game, I feel like we have a theme so far. Game 1, very close,
do.
back and forth. I definitely could see either team taking it. Does that mean Game 2 is going to be a smash?
Yeah. Well, maybe. So far, it seems like the script has been pretty similar, right? Game 1 was pretty straightforward, very close for most of it, and very tense for both of our series so far today. Second half, as we said, to recap in our first one, Dignitas kind of smashed Cloud9. And so now, we are getting word that we're
God,
actually
I'm
getting...
so sorry. I'm late.
What?
Like, I don't even
Did
know
you
where I
bring me
went.
a
There wasn't
baguette?
any traffic. What are you talking about? What?
I'm so
From
glad
where?
you're
Where would
here.
I
We
have
had some
gotten a
French
I don't
guy
know,
that
but
I
I
had
just
to
want a
deal with.
baguette. All I got is a donut now.
Man, like, where does that even come from? Anyways,
What?
we're gonna get
Why
back
do
to
you
the
guys have
games here
food?
before you start talking about that nonsense. All right. Wow. Anyways, we're gonna talk about this next game coming up because that first game was a doozy, guys. And
Oh,
my
yeah.
God, we've had some banger games already today, but that one takes the cake. That was a very fun game to watch. I just want you guys'
What about a donut?
takes off of that one, and especially leading that into game 2.
No, it does not take the donut, but as we already said, we will be looking at our next game here real quick, and it is, again, we already had our first half, now we have our second half, and it does mean that TSM can come back and tie the series 1-1, and the biggest thing that I think I would like to see is making sure that they can get Viper a better counter matchup. He's one of these players like Tony Top that benefits so much from getting a good matchup in the top side, and this time the Jace kind of took them by surprise, and Gamsu, he was gifted a double kill, but he was nonetheless able to exert
Well, this
so
is
much
what I
control
want
over
to
the
kind of
game.
hit on. Is we talked about it briefly in the game and before the game. That Gomsu's style has really evolved since seeing him on 100 next, and he is looking fantastic. Like he is one of those players that I constantly am more and more impressed by each time, and I shouldn't be. He's a player who's played, in the professional level before, having then gone over to Overwatch, coming back here, but the thing that I think that surprises me is to see him switch games, come back to this one, and then still play so damn well.
Yeah, and especially against Viper.
Right!
The top lane. That's not too bad. And the fact that as the Jace came ahead with just a little bit of help from Kenvi, right, had an incredible game on the Kindred, but at least in some moments.
We ignore their early
but
game.
that
Ignore
top-
the early game.
top lane match. Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. But to go against Viper like that, one of these up and coming, rising stars, I guess rising still stars, and to have that kind of performance where you literally just shut down that lane. You shut down the poke. They were trying to poke, and they every time one shock blast went. No, I'm not paying attention to you back.
I
One
heard
shock
what you
blast
did.
went
You
out.
cannot just ignore the pun you just made.
We want to walk past it. We want to
Uh-oh.
move past that. All right.
Are we
wanna
realm
get-
warping
we
past
wanna
it,
get
I
on-
guess you could say?
But all right, the fact, jeez, the fact that like one shock blast would completely change the environment of the fights, right? And you could see that 100 Thieves, although very very crucial in their decision making, it was that play style that came through for them. So I'm very excited to see game number 2, and I do hear it is time for you guys to take it away. So do so.
Well, thank you so much, Lennon.
Do
It's
so.
always good having Marcel on
Make
the
it
desk
so.
with us. Though I do need to pick up my book at some point because that's where I write all my notes, and I threw it on the ground.
Well, we'll see what ends up happening with that as Magical loses what little bit of sanity he has left. I imagine the book is also where you keep your marbles.
Sanity? I never had that. Anyways, looking at how this game's going to go, and I don't have my notes to really actually tell everyone all the smart things that I normally write down because, like I've said before, there's not much left up here. It's all written down on that book. But when I look at this game, I want to see how the teams are going to approach it. If we kind of see a little bit of a salty run back, because we do have the same sides, 400 Thieves and 4 TSM. TSM will remain on blue side, and we kind of wanted to look at Viper and to see if he's going to be able to get the counter pick against Gomsu. But honestly, I expect Gomsu to still hold on to that final pick, make sure that you're getting the best possible lane in the top lane. And now we've seen you cannot just blind pick that Gwen into Gomsu. He's got that Jace, and unless you ban that, he is going to make sure that he makes you regret it.
Well, I think it's a bit of a misnomer that you have to ban the Jace. You just need to make sure that you shut it down early on, right? And we didn't see that Hyper had a whole lot of... To his credit, it's not the easiest thing in the world to have a lot of early pressure on. But we do have to note the difference in the bans that come through here. The Kindred banned out this time by TSM and the Corki banned out by 100 Thieves means that we're kind of guaranteed to get a pretty different style of game. Takeover playing on the Corki had one really good package that game, and for the rest of it, was a little quiet.
I also dropped my pens.
Oh, that's what that noise was.
When I got the book, I dropped my pens in the process.
You got the
now
book.
I have nothing
okay.
to write down.
Well, that's good. Well, that's okay. That's okay. We're going to be jumping into the next game here
Very shortly. We're in the champion select already, and we see Jinx picked up by Instinct again, but Twisted Fate was left open for red side.
True.
So Jimmy N's now got this ability to rotate around the map with Ken beyond in Italy. Oh my god!
Okay, Magical. You seem excited. I'm excited too. We got... He goes to pick up the pen. We are A-okay. Everything is right with the world. But Jimmy and Nidalee, excuse me, and Kenby on the Nidalee, this is such a iconic combo in a lot of ways, right? It roams incredibly well together. It sets up for spears, and it makes it very, very difficult for anybody in a side lane to ever push out because of how powerful this gank combination can be.
Speaking of gank possibilities, a Jarvan is also really incredible at that in the early game. There's a lot of good aggression coming in from our junglers. Hyper might not be his classic Lee Sin that we've seen so many times, but that's also why it gets first banned by every team that faces off against him. Jarvan, to me, functions in a very similar manner, where he is aggressive, he has a lot of good base damage early into the game. When we have something like a Leona to help set up a lot more ganks, well, suddenly, this bot lane is looking even more volatile for TSM, especially because we've already seen what Instinct's able to do on Jinx.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I was a little bit excited for a moment.
Till next week.
I know. I didn't think about it. I just saw it, and that champion is crazy.
Have you played her
by the
at
way,
AP yet?
you should be playing it. I do like winning, so no.
Are you trying to say something about my builds?
Maybe at some point. Not out loud. So, you know, maybe we can have this conversation in private later for you, Magical. It is something we're going to have to maybe have an intervention for you at some point. But instead, we do have the Braum coming through, a very traditional counter pick. I see that side eye still. That very traditional counter pick for the Leona, right? Creating a lot of space and also making it very difficult for this Jinx to necessarily hit a lot of different targets. And you have a lot of crowd control already being brought together for 100 Thieves in order to limit TSM's ability to be aggressive.
TSM are going to really hit at 100 Thieves. They're taking away the Aphelios. I actually wonder if they're just going to double up the marksman bans. There's still things that are left open that can be pretty powerful, and we've seen. Such as Ezreal is something... I'm not a big fan of an Ezreal Braum lane personally, but it's something that we have seen players play. Wixie can easily pilot that. Caitlyn's still left open. And speaking of Ezreal, there he is.
I mean, I understand it. Even though it's not necessarily the most powerful lane combination, it's not bad, right? But the biggest thing is now Wixie has a lot of safety. There's a lot of dashes, a lot of ways for people to try and get onto him, and you really need a way to get out of the Cataclysm. And Ezreal, great at all of that, can dodge away from almost everything and can get out of pretty much everything you can't dodge. So 100 Thieves, I mean, they have a very long range composition coming in this time. The one thing that they're going to have to pay attention to is there's a lot of engage coming out from the other side. So suddenly the range advantages might not be as important this game as we were expecting them to be in the first game.
It's going to be a little bit more difficult for TSM when it comes to this game. They're not going to be able to fall back to that power that they had where they were able to poke people from such a long range. But they still do have good tools. They got that Jinx, they've got Victor, and you know, the Graves is being hovered here, and it is locked in for Viper.
Okay.
I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of it, mostly just because it's one of those things that neutralizes a lot of lanes. But if you play aggressively into it, Gamsu throwing down the gauntlet with Tryndamere, this is a problem with blinding Graves. You can easily just play aggressively into him and completely neutralize that factor.
We've seen this lane a lot in the LCK, actually, Magical. This is something that a lot of people have gone for, and it's not uncommon. I'm trying to remember who it was, but they were playing Graves with Ghost Exhaust in order to try and stay alive in this lane and actually have some ability to duel. The Ghost is really important to actually stay away from the movement speed that Gamsu will have on this Tryndamere. And we already see Viper switching over to a Ghost of his own. So this is a tough lane. Somebody who plays a fair amount of solo lane Graves, this is a really tough position to be in. And I feel like this Tryndamere that has slowly been creeping back into the meta, it used to be just Darshan who would be like the only person who was playing it. Now that more people are playing it, it becomes very difficult for a lot of members of TSM to actually deal with this champion.
It sets up good split push capabilities for your team. Gamsu, I talked about before, is a player who does know how to set up split push. He knows how to set up for a 1-3-1. Utilizing a lot of control around the map, and we even saw with the Jades the power that he can really lord over anybody in that side lane when given the opportunity with the Jace into Gwen. I'm curious to see how this Tryndamere into Viper's Graves is going to handle its own.
The one thing that we do have to know about this Tryndamere, though, Magical, is it is something that can be attacked early. Yes, it has the dash, but that is really its only tool for surviving a lot of these ganks. If you ever go forward as the Tryndamere, suddenly you're just inviting Jarvan to come up and slowly beat you down. And between Jarvan and Graves, you definitely have enough damage. So if we can see Viper put ahead like he wasn't last game, this could be a very different story.
As we load up on to the Rift for Game 2 and Series 2, Week 2, Day 1. Look at what Gamsu's got in his inventory. That's why my eyes are just wide right now, going for the full Rejuve bead.
3 Rejuve beads means that he's going to have a lot of sustain. It also says to me that he has no interest in fighting early, right? He wants to sit back, he wants to scale up to his items, and just make sure that he's not going to be giving over any of these early kills. And suddenly, instead of being worried about potential Gamsu aggression, instead, it's asking the question, is TSM willing to dive this Tryndamere before he hits level 6?
Can we go back to Catboy Ezreal for a sec?
Catboy Ezreal.
The new skin. Meow. Hey,
yeah, we can do that.
Observers, go back to Ezreal. I want to see him. Let's fandom. Come on, hashtag. Hashtag Let's fandom. There we go. Oh, he's got the zoom in too. Yes.
Right, there we go.
Yes. Right, now we can talk about what you were talking about. What'd you say again? I wasn't listening.
Okay. Well, it's okay. We got Catboy Ezreal. That's all that's important. And Catboy Ezreal also going for a little bit of an invade. And this is really good from TSM. They're dodging out on this potential early game invade from the Braum. And it does mean that Nidalee will be getting this camp. And with the ward protecting their own red buff, it's not immediately obvious for TSM that they're going to go for this. But
once they went over the Tribush ward,
now they know.
They know. So they should immediately tell Hyper just to go for the vertical clear. Say, you know what? Yep, you already see the pings on the minimap. Say, go towards your red buff because you don't want to get triple buffed here. Even though you're able to get your own invade and steal that blue buff, which was nice to mitigate any of that advantage. Look at where Kenvi is positioning right now. He is positioning to contest the red.
Okay, they're actually meeting right here. Kenvi and
Hyper.
Hyper
At level 2. Spear is not going to connect out of Kenvi. Hyper trying to make sure that he's not taking too much damage, but won't actually try to fight. More control over the red buff.
Okay, look at all these pings coming through. Assist me is there. Viper has Prio in the top lane. He's already moving, but he's going to find Gamsu.
Him, but it's still the Tryndamere only level 2 compared to Viper's level 2. We already talked about how this Graves is a good neutralizing factor in the lane, and Gamsu wants to scale up to make sure he's getting level 6. Oh, Jimmy, and we go back to mid lane and just that looked like a bad duel.
Oh, hold on. We'll get back to that. Kenvi and Hyper.
V2, we look at the top lane, see how they're going to be able to do. Hyper-Viper duo, fighting it a little bit for control around this red buff, but it's taking them a damn long time to actually get this. The TP coming back in from Jimmy N to try to help out. Spear will connect on a Viper, but the red resets. This fight continues. Neither side is wanting to relent their control over this quadrant of the map. And here's Jimmy on the other side, looking for the gold card. Going to be able to take down Takeover and look for the flash away to be able to survive. But Gamsu is pretty low himself. He's got the ghost pop. He could easily get back in there, but they're just waiting for the gold card to come up from Jimmy N. There it is, flashed in on Takeover yet again with the spear connecting to, jumping in into the backline. First blood goes over to Ken V. Viper's pretty low as well, but it's going to be the flag and drag combo for the kill. Going over to Gamsu. Hyper flashing over the wall, but the gold card connect again and double kill for Ken V.
Remember how we were asking earlier, Magical? We said that the first game was close, the second game was going to be a blowout. We are starting to look just like that. Look at that insane 3 kills going over to 100 Thieves, and all the time the Hyper is spending on that suddenly is going to be a total catastrophe for this driver in case he is so far behind, and this bottom lane, despite the fact that they've got no kills, going to play a huge role because they were able to just farm and get gold during this entire time, whereas the rest of everybody on the map suddenly lost out on a ton of
while
experience.
Jimmy N might have gotten poked out in the lane phase and it was Kenview to get most of the kills, I think that Jimmy N is the big unsung hero in this one. And you can even see here how he's able to path away, making sure that a gank attempted by Hyper and Yurson is completely mitigated. Those gold cards in that fight were critical out of Jimmy N to make sure they had the right targets and always were able to bully someone who had no flash such as Takeover.
Yeah, Jimmy N comes through. At least they're going to be getting most of this, but this CS lead that we are starting to see come out for Takeover is going to build up pretty significantly. The fact that Jimmy N has no flash means that it is so dangerous for him to walk up anywhere in this actual part of the lane and Takeover. He was bullying early, as you should be expecting a Victor versus Twisted Fate, but it should end up getting worse. And Jimmy, he's also going to be a little bit less impactful this game due to the fact that he has no flash and he's really delayed on his level 6.
But unlike what we saw last time when Copy was the one playing Twisted Fate, there is another source of AP damage for the side of 100 Thieves. Kenvy's 2-0-1
True.
on this Nidalee. Already got that Hex Tech alternator completed. And that is really what you want anyways. Jimmy N is more here just to make sure that he can roam around the map and kind of goon squat it up with Kenvy.
Well, we'll see how effective he's actually going to be on that. A lot of Twisted Fate in Academy thus far has not been particularly impressive. And Jimmy N, I mean, just being willing to go for a lot of those flashes or those gold cards early on, put them in a fantastic position. But now, Kenvy going to be starting up this dragon. Typer sees that's happening. He's like, nope, don't really want that whatsoever. So 100 Thieves not only getting the gold lead early on, but also getting the dragon lead. This is putting them in a fantastic position to actually start taking over this game.
And I'm looking at how 100 Thieves are going to be able to continue this lead. The Gamsu is going to be the one issue for me, making sure that you maintain this lead. Despite the fact that he's 1-0-2, not all those rejuve beats, he has fallen pretty severely behind that of Viper. While other parts of the map are working out well, Graves is something that you have to fear, especially when he gets a level lead over something like Tryndamere.
Yeah, he's level 6. Gamsu, we don't quite see how close he is to actually leveling up, but probably pretty soon. But we also have to note that, like, Gamsu, during that entire scuffle, his way was slow pushing into the enemy turret, which meant that it didn't actually crash, and by the time it did crash, Viper had respawned and actually got to farm about 2.5 waves coming back. So it's a pretty significant experience differential, and we see that Gamsu just now hitting level 6, now gets to play again, but it's potentially an issue if people like Hyper were to come up. Oh,
Yurson had a really good position there, but it was a nice testing gate to make sure that the flag drag came in from Hyper.
Oh, missed a W.
I actually really liked what Yurson was attempting. Had it not been for Jimmy N with that Destiny Gate, that actually could have been a good pick on Kenvy.
That's a good point, right? A very small misplay coming through from Kenvy as well, not getting the W to go to the target that you hit with your hunt, suddenly means that Hyper gets away with just a sliver of health. Like, one more tick of Ignite would have done it. That little bit of extra damage could have been enough. But that's the first Destiny Gate being used by Jimmy, not resulting in a whole lot for 100 Thieves. And I don't want to criticize him too much, because it was really, really close. But you do have to pay attention to the next time he's going to go for it. He doesn't have the same kind of CDR as we saw Takeover having last
but
game.
I do want to even... That's why I was kind of praising Yurson for his positioning and why it was so unfortunate for him. It looked like it could have been a good pick potential on Kenvy, but the Destiny Gate does save the life of Kenvy. While at the same time, make sure they're constantly bullying Hyper. And when we talked about Hyper on this Jarvan, what does Hyper like to do best? Not Hyper. What does Jarvan like to do best? He likes to play aggressively early and fight.
Yeah. And he's behind. He's he's actually a fair amount behind, right? 38 to 54.
I'm pretty sure that that entire lead for 100 Thieves is all just between Kenvi and Hyper.
It's probably pretty close to that.
Yeah.
We take a look. Yeah, about 300 in favor for Gamsu.
That's negligible
as
though.
well. You know those. Yeah, it's not nothing.
Yeah, but it's
not much more than nothing.
It's like
but
it's boots. It's a non-zero.
Non-zero.
But it's like the argument of 40 gold being a lot more than anything else too, right? You can't even buy a health pot. As you can even see here, Instinct, Gerson, it looked like a good pick onto Wixie, but they just don't have the damage yet. Despite the fact that Instinct is level 6, that rocket dodged away by Wixie is going to be huge, but he went right into the zap. Hyper looking for his first gank. They've got the heal and flash away. Instead, they turn their attention on to Sword. The flash was not enough, so they got the kill for Instinct.
Oh, so tragic coming out for 100 Thieves. Not able to get anything off of that. Wixie only level 5, now level 6. Is he going to try and go for some kind of snipe? He does. Doesn't actually land onto Yurasan, though. Now Kenvi, seeing that there's so much pressure down here in the bottom side, has the Rift Herald and is looking to dive this top lane.
Was able to clear out the minion waves, even though you do have Gamsu taking up the turret. Viper tried to be able to get away with the heal and with the flash and glows. They got a lot of damage. It's the Undying Rage flash away by Gamsu. Chaos Storm burning. Kenvi's low. They've got Gamsu low too. They both had to jump over the wall, spin to win, and the jump coming in from Kenvi to survive.
Yeah, Gamsu blows the ultimate a little bit earlier than he needs to. Kenvi will be able to get out of this one, but a failed dive by 100 Thieves does mean that there is a small opportunity here for TSM. They now have a bit of an imbalance. They now have Instinct with that first kill of the game for TSM, and we've seen how powerful
and
Jinxes
that's going
can
to be the big test here for TSM. While you have Kenvi with this massive lead for the side of 100 Thieves, they're getting Jinx into a great position. And if they can make sure that Instinct is kept alive throughout these fights, doesn't matter how damn fed your Nidalee is, she's not getting the damage onto the proper targets.
Yeah, we saw Spawn have a great game on the Jinx earlier
Well,
in the
even
day.
saw Instinct last game
We'll see if
with
they
a good
can...
game on the Jinx.
Yeah, true. Looked pretty darn good. Okay, Kenvi going for a repeat here, but there's no ultimate
but there is the Destiny Gate coming in from Jimmy N. He's got the gold card too. Viper, he's dead.
Yeah, very dead. Okay, do they choose to drop the Rift Herald here, or are they going to be... yeah, they're just going to be backing out. They saw a lot of members from TSM in the top half. Yurasan's already here, and they want to make sure that they are able to actually play for this upcoming dragon that will be spawning here.
I think that's why they didn't bother dropping it there. Instead, saying, you know what, we kind of want to keep this turret alive. That way we can look for a Viper yet again. As if he's still up here, it's a pretty easy lane to gank as Gamsu once he has Undying Rage up, so they can back off, utilize that empowered recall for Kenvi, gets him on the map quicker, so he's already here in the bot lane with the sword.
Everybody's here. Like you said, Sword is there. Also, quick praise to Sword for holding the wave mid lane so that Jimmy could come in and actually farm it. 100 Thieves are here first, and
oh wow,
they have about half the time left on their Rift Herald.
Look at Kenvi.
Oh, wow.
Again, we see a very early completion on that Mythic. We saw it in Game 2 of our last series. We're seeing it here in Game 2 of our second series with the Proto Belt. But there is a potential fight for TSM, making sure that it's not going to be too easy for 100 Thieves to get themselves the second dragon of the game.
Not going to be too easy. And that's why Kenvi's like, you know, I'm fast. Let's go try something else. Jimian has a gold card and a flash.
The most at this time. And there's going to be the gravity field put down by Takeover. And Hyper's on the other side, waiting the gold card out. Jimian's already popped it. Going to be able to pull that card out. Hex Flash away from your son. Not having Solar Flare yet is going to make it difficult for them to actually contest this Hex Tech Dragon take.
Instinct going to be backing away. That is going to be TSM basically seeding it. Hyper can only really go for a steal.
I mean, he could have attempted it, but I respect that he didn't. I respect that he didn't. He doesn't. It's not like last time where he can use the Spectrum all over the wall. Then he can use his Heartbreaker out with a Flash too, just to make sure. Here it's like, yeah, you got the flag and drag, and then you can flash, I guess, out of there, but that's risky.
Very risky, and you want to make sure you have that to punish people who don't have flash elsewhere on the map, right? Jimian, I mean, he has his flash now, but it's not that hard to try and take that away from him. Instead, it's going to be backing away and continuing to bleed out a little bit, right? 30 CS is the differential now in the jungle. Hyper really far behind at this point, and I mean, there's a meme in my friend group, actually, where one of the people that I play a lot with plays a lot of Jarvan, and he consistently ends up like 2 and 10 or something like that. But he is the most useful 2 in 10 Jarvan you will ever
I was
see.
going to say, that's Jarvan, though.
He's
Isn't
just
it?
always-
Jarvan in a nutshell. It's
Yeah.
on, you flag, drag, there it is, knock up onto Kenvi.
Kenvi.
Doesn't even matter if he's going to be behind Kenvi. He's got enough damage. The red buff was helping out too, but the Chaos Storm's going to burn in the mid lane. They're going to be able to get the Solar Flare onto Sword with the Zenith Blade as well, but it's going to be hard to actually kill this Braum. He's pretty tanky. You had to wait for the door to be able to drop there. There's going to be heal coming in from Jimmy to keep him alive, but at least he'll survive. Oh, Rocket! So close. Sword barely makes it out of there, so he'll be fine. 100 Thieves are going to be fine at the moment, so here, it's a good play coming in from 100 Thieves to make sure they got everyone out.
Yeah, 100 Thieves doing a good job, as you said, getting everybody out of that play, and it was really nail-biting over and over again. But again, small leads going over to 100 Thieves, and it's not the blowout that we saw from XU earlier in the day. Kenvi still trying to do his best to cosplay that, already has the Hextech Rocket Belt already completed, so he's looking pretty darn good, and they already got the 2 dragons, and they also have a lot of scaling elements to them, right? So it is a situation where 100 Thieves, they don't necessarily outscale, but they're not super worried about taking this game late as long as they're going to be doing so with an advantage.
Right, and they can set up Gomsu for the split push if they need to. They've got a good amount of damage coming in from Wixie as well, and one thing that I like to talk about this often, just because I'm old.
Yep.
I'm old when it comes to this game, okay,
Yeah.
guys? I'm old. I'm so used to the back in my day when Ezreal wasn't the best turret taker, but when he got that minor rework, it made him far better when it came to the mid to late game at actually putting threats onto structures, onto these neutral objectives as well. But where he wasn't before, but right there, I mean, Sword, he's fine. He's got a level up on Yursan. You can even see with the Glacial Augment, it's not really stopping Sword from doing anything.
True. Yeah, one of the other things, I kind of want to go back to that Ezreal point that you made, because yes, you do a lot of damage to structures and you get extra Sheen proc, but the other thing that a lot of people kind of forget about, and you know, for all you Ezreal players at home, make sure you're auto-attacking too, right? A lot of people, the bad Ezreals will just sit there and they will spam Qs, but you do that in order to keep up your stacks, in order to get that high attack speed, that W, make sure you have an extra spell to get easy stacks and make sure that you always have maximum attack speed. But now, 100 Thieves don't have Jimmy in for this fight. They pick up the bottom lane turret, but 100 Thieves.
But he does have the Destiny Gate if he needs to show up. He can rotate pretty fast because the Unsealed Spellbook, he went back after the heal. Got his TP, it should be up soon. But honestly, I don't think they really need to put up too much of a fight around this. It's even though they have this lead, they really, it's more of a can they find the fight. That's when you actually go for it. Otherwise, you can just wait it out. You can wait out what you need to. There's the Destiny Gate open with the gold card onto Viper. The focus onto Viper. They've got the kill onto Hyper, but Viper falls right behind him. Yursad's got the blast going, but it's going to be Gomsu right on top of him. Only level 6, easily sliced down.
There you go. It's not the same kind of blowout that we saw earlier in the day, but it is everything going in favor of 100 Thieves. They don't secure the Rift Herald because it was actually killed by TSM, but 100 Thieves find all the kills after, and TSM not able to pick up the eye. So 100 Thieves looking very, very strong.
Tragic. Every time I see an eye just not able to be picked up by a team, unless they stole it to deny it, it always feels bad. Right there. You were worried about Jimmy, but I wasn't. It was an easy take.
I wasn't that worried, but I was a little worried. And I also have to criticize right now Takeover going for that. It was a very difficult play for him to actually try and kill Jimmy. And crucially, Dragon spawning in 30 seconds. Now you don't have Chaos Storm. Let's take a look at the previous fight, right? We saw, Jimmy coming in from the back, and at this point, it's already just a rout. There's nobody on TSM that can stand up. Victor wasn't in a position where he could actually DPS through the fight, and it ends up just being a spot where 100 Thieves just roll everything by getting so much poke down at the beginning of the fight.
And see, this is you were asking for a better Twisted Fate game, and here you go. Jimmy doing a great job on this. Well, sure, he was getting bullied a little bit by Takeover in the lane. To me, when I look at how Twisted Fates are able to play, it's how they're able to set up the other lanes, how they're able to set up their teammates as opposed to actually having the super highly aggressive Destiny Gates. And so far, Jimmy has done a great job. Really, his gold cards have been perfect. Target selection has been immaculate out of him.
We'll see what else they can do. This is fascinating too, right? You're seeing that a big response coming out from TSM up towards the top side. They really wanted to pick up that turret, but so many members of 100 Thieves were there to stop it, and because TSM committed so much, it just meant that there was a very free dragon on the opposite side of the map for Kenvi to grab. And so we are once again finding ourselves in a spot where 100 Thieves, 3 dragons to the Infernal Soul. They just need 1 more, and Gomsu now very thoroughly online.
This is very reminiscent of our last game, if, a little bit faster for 100 Thieves. Last time, TSM were able to slow
early
the
game triple
pace.
kill.
Yeah, exactly. They were able to slow the pace down pretty well, but here I still look at how they're going to be able to play these fights. They got some bounty gold up available if they want to be able to get that off the turrets. Sure, if they get a Dragon 2, that's going to be a little bit extra gold, but I'm really looking at Instinct. They're still scaling up. He's got the Gale Force completed, but he's still only 1-0. He hasn't really been a part of much for TSM, and so I'm just wondering if TSM ever get the chance, if they ever will in this game, to actually utilize this Jinx.
I don't know. They haven't really been playing to him a whole lot, right? He's just, he had that one gank that we saw bottom lane that went well, but after that, he's just kind of been hanging out. And that's not necessarily the Jinx's fault, right? It hasn't necessarily been a lot of opportunities for this Jinx to hit. AD carry, most important role of the game, but they have some of the least agency, right? It's very, very difficult for them to do anything. Here goes
Speak
Jimmy.
of no agency right now, the damage they got on the Viper, he's already 0-4, and they got Hyper in the pit. He doesn't want to be there, even though they look for the kill, and it can be. He heals up for a double kill.
Okay. We are done. Yeah? Okay, we're backing away at this point. 100 Thieves. As you said, as you called out, the target selection, the ability to set things up by Jimmy, it's probably been the best Twisted Fate we've seen in Academy thus far. Being in the right place, creating flanks, and creating a lot of pressure, locking down the members that they need to. And again, impressive play from Kenvi to stay alive. But what do they do with this pressure? It's just a couple of kills that are going to be coming through, which at this point in the game, if you're not giving anything back up for it, absolutely A-okay for 100 Thieves. They just want to continue bullying people around and keeping them out of their jungle. And I think those kills, the gold is nice, but the statement is more impactful. You don't get to come into your jungle.
No, this jungle is Kenvi's. He's got 100% kill participation in this game. 14 stacks on the Magi's as well. Looking to complete what I can only assume is going to be a Lich Bane as well. Kenvi is on fire on this Nidalee.
Yeah, and the Lich changes actually helped Nidalee quite a bit. It's a little bit less immediate burst, but Nidalee was typically going to be getting off a lot of Lich Bane procs over the course of an individual fight. And just having the lower cooldown means that you're going to be that much more effective in these brawls at a little bit of cost of assassination.
I don't think it's going to cost them too much, though. When you have Magi...
He's so far.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you have a Magi's at 14 stacks, doesn't matter. The Lich Bane is still going to do enough damage.
And here,
we got to pause. All right, hopefully we'll be able to get that fixed. But, it gives us some time to dissect this game because it has been very fast-paced. This is what we saw in our first series as well. Very fast game 2. Game 2 here in our second series. 100 Thieves is really just accelerating this game, and a lot of it is onto this jungler, onto Kenvi, and how he's been able to play around Gamsu in the top lane.
Yeah, and Gamsu now has the Navori Quick Blades in his inventory as well, so there's a lot of threat coming through. There's been this myth for a long time that Tryndamere, garbage team fighter. That's really not the case. He comes in, presses W, and suddenly everybody around him loses more than a BF sword worth of AD.
Yeah, it's a very different style than people are used to from Tryndamere.
Yeah, so you just come in magical, and from there you're able to just jump on top of people. You're very mobile, right? You have the dash, you have the ghost, you have the Gale Force to jump on top of them, and you create this huge threat onto their backline basically no matter what, because you are so artificially tanky because they literally can't kill you.
It's a very different look to Tryndamere, and I think that a lot of it has to do too with what we're seeing from the meta. There's not as much mobility from a lot of the meta champions. I'm sure Corki has a good amount of mobility, same with something like a Jarvan, but it's very one-dimensional. It's not consistent mobility, constantly dashing around, and like you talked about, the Gale Force to make sure that you're sticking to your targets makes it so much easier for you to follow up someone like Instinct, like Takeover, so they can never escape your grasp.
Yeah. One bit of vocab that I want to introduce to your vocabulary here, Magical, is discretionary crowd control, right? You have proactive crowd control, and you have reactive crowd control, right? A great person with proactive crowd control is someone like Jarvan. You go forward, and if you're using your crowd control defensively, you're probably wasting your champ. Braum, on the other hand, has great reactive crowd control. You can go forward, but it's mostly just used to make sure that people are not hitting your backline. There's other champions like TF who have great discretionary crowd control. You can choose to use this to create a pick, but you can also use it on the Spinning Cat Arena. You can also use it on the Tryndamere that's suddenly in your team. There is not a lot of discretionary crowd control on the side of TSM. You want your Jarvan going forward. You want your Leona going forward. And basically all that you have in order to prevent Gamsu from just spinning all over you is a gravity field and a root.
So what does death count?
That's not stopping him. Death is, all kinds of crowd control. Okay, well...
I don't think it could be all kinds. I mean, right here, Viper, nice dodge away from the spear. But I'm just curious to see if they're going to be able to actually do anything. Viper continues to fight. You're 0-4, 0-5 now. Sorry, I'm wrong there because Genvi gets himself a 7th kill. And then Instinct might die too. Taking the cards to the face. Yurasan, next target too. They have Hyper on the flank. Look to see if he can get back into the game. Do anything really in this fight, but he just can't. He can't escape from them. Look at the damage coming in from 100 Thieves. Gamsu is even wanting to chase them too. Undying Rage Flash killing spree out of him.
Oh. There's no way he wins this, right?
I don't know. He doesn't.
He
Doesn't have the ult, but yeah, wow, that's just crazy.
I think I'm ready to call it magical.
You don't get
at this point.
That's not in your control. That's in my control.
Okay.
As a play.
Oh yeah.
Play by play is gonna decide when it's over. And you know what? They got the late game.
All right.
They got
the late game.
They're scaling.
Okay. All right. I just like to say that Joshi MD would like to call time of death at about 23 minutes.
No. Late game. That's what I say in all my solo queue games, even when I'm really far behind. I say, got the late game, but that's also because I play Vigar.
When the game goes to 70 minutes, yes, you will win.
Yeah.
You will win at that point. Okay, good to know.
It is good to know, but I kind of want to just inform you. 24 stacks on Kenvi. Not too bad.
100 CS lead in the jungle.
Flame Horizon, not bad. What is this? 12,000 gold lead for 100 Thieves at 23.5 minutes?
Yep. These are all just symptoms. Dr. Magical.
I'm a doctor now. I didn't know that.
You must be like Mundo then.
No, Mundo claims that he's a doctor. I don't even claim that. I at least know my place.
Well, I mean, Mundo sometimes forgets his own name, so I would not be surprised if sometimes he forgot he was a doctor. But 100 Thieves, they now have the Infernal Soul, and TSM are getting kind of brutally crushed, kind of across the board. Is Gamsu now taking down the bottom lane inhibitor? Nobody is there to match him, and nobody can match him.
Like I was about to say, what can you do to Gamsu? He's got Undying Rage back up. 3-0-5 with the Navarro Quick Blades completed. Got a BF Sword in his inventory. No one can really stop him. They've sent Viper down here, but he's 0-5, and right there you can see how threatening 100 Thieves are with how much respect TSM must give them.
The only question is, who are they going to get next? Okay.
Oh, that's tragic. When you can't even follow up a Solar Flare onto an Ezreal. Okay, maybe you're right. Maybe the game's over.
It would require a monumental mistake on the side of 100 Thieves because they haven't lost a single turret this game. They've given up 1 kill.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
That is the only thing preventing a perfect game.
I don't think that that's gonna happen anytime soon, as they already have knocked down an inhibitor in the mid lane. Yurasan, he didn't even get close, and he nearly died in that fight. There goes the second inhibitor. This is looking like deja vu from game 1, except way earlier, about a full 10 minutes earlier, with TSM finally, there we go. They pull the trigger, but what can they do? They've got the kill on Kenvi. They've been able to shut him down, but they are losing out so much. It was just a jungler for jungler. Jimmy N got the root onto Yurasan. They got the killing spree for Jimmy N, and with 3 members now surviving from TSM, that's it. They have to fight against Jimmy N, against Wixie, as they start to batter these Nexus turrets.
Yeah, man. The shield bow enough to keep Viper alive, but again, this feels very similar to the game that we saw coming out from Dignitas earlier, where XU had the kill and he only gave up 1 death. 7-1-9 was his score. Currently, Kenvi doing his best to match 8-1-5. They get 2 inhibs, they get all 3 inhibitor turrets, and now they just need to turn towards the Baron. 100 Thieves, total control of this game, and they've been that way for at least 3 minutes.
I didn't realize we had a theme going on for the day. I more made it as a joke to begin with how Game 1 looked very reminiscent from this series to the first series, but Game 2 is way, way too similar to Game 2 of our first series. Like you said, the fact that the jungler got fed, then dies there inside the base of the enemy. I thought that these were supposed to be different games.
That's what you think. Yurasan now hanging out. 100 Thieves can slowly take control.
Magi's too!
Yeah, he does. Doesn't have as many pages, though.
Well, Kenvi
Still
had
working on his
more, but
biography.
he died. So he lost that. And now the Baron's been started up. a little bit later than we saw in Game 1, but doesn't really matter when you have this kind of a lead. 15,000 gold up. The Solar Flare not going to connect. It's going to be the True Shot Barrage coming out. They already got the secure onto the Baron, and the rest of TSM have to run again back towards their base with their terribly between their legs.
Okay, they've got super minions starting to come close in the bottom lane. They've got super minions in the mid lane. They got a full wave top lane with the Baron buff as well. 100 Thieves are in total control. They should be looking to end here, and the only question is, how do they choose to do that? Are they going to do it by diving, or are they going to be doing it by starving out their opponents? They have loads of options.
We didn't really get to see it last time, but I have a feeling they don't even need to win a fight. They're just going to let the minions do the work for them. As you can already see, these next turrets taking low, though Hyper took a lot of damage from that Twisted Fate combo with Wixie. They've got one turret. There goes the second one. There isn't even a fight from TSM just yet, but the flash coming in from Gerson not going to be able to connect that Zenith Blade while Sword's taking the brunt of the damage. Gerson, he's going to get the rampage out of Gamsu. And look at how low Viper is. Oh, Hyper, he gave a double kill over to Gamsu. They're not done, though. They got the kill on the Sword, but I think Gamsu's done. He's ready to get this game over and get the 2-0.
Okay, 100 Thieves again looking very good. 7-1-9 was XU. 8-1-7. 1 kill short, 1 assist short for Kenvi to try and match XU with the 16 KDA there. Only 15. Only 15. 100 Thieves still looking very, very good as they end up closing out this game. It's a very tough time coming through for TSM fans. And Derek, I know you tagged me a lot on Twitter. This game was unfortunately not for you.
No, pretty much any TSM fan should look away from Game 2. Just look at Game 1, look at how close that was, and just imagine Game 2 was like that. That's going to be your best bet, because honestly, we look at Game 2 for both these series, and they have been so heavily one-sided. The coin flips early on, both of them favoring the red side, and got to give a lot of credit over to Kenvi with this Nidalee play. It looked so much cleaner than the Kindred, and the Kindred was not bad either in that first game.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting to see why Kenvi has been such a feared jungler across Academy and Amateur, and why his rise has been so fast. Definitely expect to see this guy a lot in the future, but the members of 100 Thieves, everybody doing their job. I know I listed Wixie as one of my overperformers. I was expecting him to do, I want to say like he did today, where he was good, but he didn't necessarily stand out, and he just looked really good because the rest of his team was great, but he performed so well in week 1, and now as we kind of look at like those highs, we're just like, oh no, this guy is still very good. He just wasn't needed as much because his top half is also really good.
Right. I mean, honestly, just you look at Gamsu, you look at how Kenvi played in this game, and they took all the spotlight for themselves, but it wasn't like Wixie was having a bad game either. In Game 1,
yeah.
It just Moore was farming up because he was Senna. He didn't really have much kill threat until later into the game. You look at this game, as Ezreal, kind of similar story. He just needed to make sure he wasn't dying, especially not giving over kills to Instinct, and that's what he did. He did a great job on both the roles in both games.
And that's what you need. You're looking for versatile players, people who can fill all kinds of roles. And I mean, when you have such stars like Kenvi and Gamsu quickly becoming that way as well, you just need to be able to make sure that everything on the map is going to work out A-OK. And 100 Thieves, as they do this once again, they improve at this point to 5-1, which means that they have dropped only a single game at this point to Golden Guardians, and they're again looking to challenge teams like Immortals.
Exactly. They want to make sure they're hot in the heels of our team of Immortals, the undefeated team. Not sure how it's going over on the secondary stream, so if you want to make sure, go over to twitch.tv/faceittv in order to check out how that game's going. We got more here. We're going to toss it to a break. When we come back, hopefully we'll be able to get our interview all set up for Mazel, so stick around.
Hello. I can hear myself. Hello. Yes, the only issue is I can hear myself speaking like half a second offset, but otherwise I can't hear you. So if I put Wixie on, he's going to be very distracted hearing his own voice after he speaks. Oh, nice. We're on stream. Cool. Great. Good thing I didn't say anything silly.
I'll leave it with you. Wait, you look up. If you have the issue of hearing yourself speak, say short sentences.
This is where
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Hello. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Hello?
Welcome back, everyone. We finally get to have our interview here as I am joined by the ADC of 100 Thieves. I've got Wixie with us. And Wixie, you guys just came off a very impressive 2-game winning spree, if you will. 2 weeks into Academy now, man. How you feeling? What's your personal take?
Personally, I'm pretty confident, honestly. Um, I feel like our team has been like playing for Smurf, and yeah, like clapping a lot of teams. Pretty good.
I like it. I like it. I got one question to ask you though, man. Have you seen Arcane? You know, Pow Pow Powder. Come on. I'm just joking, man. The Senna came out in game number 1. You guys are looking so good with that. Tell me a little bit about that Senna pick, a little bit of the decision making behind it for you.
It just felt like with Senna, like a really strong front to back comp. We could play something that's usually Death Ball, like along with Kindred from like 10 points away. With Prom, you just like wipe their entire team. That kind of pick. So we just thought it was a really good pick, and we thought it won into like Jinx Aphelios type, so we picked it over them.
I like it. All right, get a little background to it. So you join 100 Thieves. You're on their academy squad. Big name brand, big shoes to fill as well. Coming in here, where previous great shoes have been. Biggest thing for me is, was there anything from scouting grounds last year that immediately transferred over to this new situation for you that really stuck out and stuck with you?
Oh, definitely. I feel like coming into the new team environment, like I've only played on like 1 or 2 teams, and like those are the only players I've ever met in the community. Like stepping into this academy scene, I feel I've met so many personalities. I've like made a few friends as well. Like I don't know, the whole introduction to like meeting all these like players with all their own aspirations and all their goals has been super motivating for me to like win for or win against them. So it's been super fun.
That's so cool. I love to hear that. Well, you're talking a little bit about it or around the subject, but for me, you and Sword, an unlikely duo in the bot late. How has it been playing with Sword in a new environment with a guy who just role swapped to support, even though he was playing a bunch of enchanters in the mid lane? Tell me a little bit about that synergy for you guys.
Oh, it's been super fun. Like both are like, I mean, incredibly new. I mean, played like one split like last time, but it was on mid lane. So this is like a whole new environment for him.
Yeah.
So like of him has been like a lot of learning process for the both of us, and like going places with him, like meeting him, like really nice, and I really want to win for him. It's like he really wanted to win today against TSM, his ex team. So making that happen for him was super huge. It was good.
Hey, a friend asks you to do something, you do it. And I can appreciate that one for sure. But it's been so interesting to watch you guys kind of come together and that synergy building already through the split. But another thing I kind of want to talk about is we were seeing some tweets from Jimmy N about some local delicacies that you guys have been trying out. Do you have any more plans to go do any more delicacy trips?
Oh yeah, we're planning on going to Thai food place very soon, and they're pretty fancy. But I feel like in the end, power will always stay with Auntie Anne
Ooh.
cinnamon pretzels. That's where he's at.
I will say personally, I have to agree with him though. Kind of, it's so good. I love to hear it. Synergy just across the board. Now the serious take I have here is if you had to take one teammate with you, could be even a coach, even if you had to take one person with you from the team to a deserted island and survive there, who would it be?
Smithy Count, my manager. I think he's a insanely smart guy. It's his birthday today. I hope everyone wishes Pepe Smithy a happy birthday.
Oh, happy
Amazing
birthday!
guy, I've ever had, and he's super nice. So, happy birthday, Papa Smithy.
That is awesome. All right, happy birthday, Papa Smithy. That was awesome to hear. One last little bit. I'll give you a moment here, Wixie. You've had a big day as well as a big start to your academy season. Do you have any shout outs or anybody you want to talk about here before we do let you go?
Shout out to Buzio. Been putting in work for our scrims, and he's been watching us, supporting us like behind the scenes, and equally as like motivated as everyone else to grinding and soon in step in for a team and pull off some clutch plays.
I love it. Wixie, thank you so much for chatting with us, and go enjoy the win with the boys.
Thank you, sir.
Alrighty, well that was it. We finally got an interview. I'm so happy to have gotten to talk with Wixie and to have gotten to watch them smash that series. It was really fun to watch, and we'll see them next time on a Summoner's Rift. But we're gonna go ahead and send it to a little break while we get ready for our third series of the day. Don't go anywhere.